If she really wanted you, would you still be analyzing every message, every silence, every shift in her tone? Think about that for a second, because right now you're waiting, hoping, replaying conversations in your head, stuck in that strange place where she's almost interested, almost committed, almost yours. And that's the part that keeps you hooked. Here's the reframe most men don't want to hear. That emotional limbo isn't confusion. It's exactly where she wants you. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 signs she's playing you for a fool. Not because she's evil, not because women are cruel, but because hope blinds men and boundaries come too late. And once you see these patterns clearly, you'll stop guessing and start taking your power back. Let's start with the first sign, because this is usually where men get trapped without even realizing it. Sign number 1, emotional distance wrapped in flirtation. Just enough warmth, never enough depth. This is one of the most effective emotional traps there is. She flirts, she teases, she sends late-night messages, she gives you just enough attention to keep you emotionally invested. But the moment you move toward depth, clarity, vulnerability, direction, she pulls away. Ask her where things are going, she dodges. Ask her how she really feels, she deflects. Try to define the connection. You hear phrases like, let's see where it goes, or I'm just going with the flow. Here's what's actually happening psychologically. Flirtation is low risk. Emotional depth creates accountability, and she wants the attention without the responsibility. I've seen this play out countless times. A guy tells me, but she texts me every night. Yes, I say, but does she show up when it matters? Warm words, cold actions. That's the pattern. When a woman genuinely wants you, depth doesn't feel forced. It happens naturally. When she doesn't, flirtation becomes bait. And if you're honest with yourself, you already feel that imbalance. You feel entertained, not chosen. Now let's move to the second sign, because this one is far more calculated. Sign number 2, she keeps other men in the conversation. This is psychological leverage through competition. She doesn't compare you directly. She doesn't say you're not enough. She does something subtler. She casually mentions an ex who still texts her, a coworker who really understands her, a friend who's always there for her. Not aggressively, not obviously. Just enough to remind you that you're not the only option. And here's why that works. Insecurity makes men try harder. When you feel replaceable, you invest more, you overthink more, you tolerate more, and she benefits from that imbalance. Your effort increases, her position strengthens. But here's the truth that cuts through the noise. A woman who wants you protects your confidence. She doesn't create unnecessary competition. She doesn't keep backup options emotionally visible. She doesn't enjoy watching you feel uncertain. A woman who plays you sabotages your security quietly. And the moment you start proving your worth instead of standing in it, the dynamic is already off. Pause here for a moment. Have you ever felt like you were subtly competing for her attention without ever agreeing to that competition? That feeling isn't accidental. Now notice what both of these signs have in common. She gets attention. You get uncertainty. She gets options, you get anxiety, and we're only getting started. Because in part 2, we're going to talk about effort, inconsistency, and why the harder you try, the less she values it, even when you're doing everything right. Before we continue, do this. If either of these signs felt uncomfortably familiar, let me know in the comments. And if you're starting to see patterns you've ignored for too long, like the video. Because part 2 is where most men realize they weren't unlucky. They were conditioned. By now, something should be clicking. None of this feels dramatic. None of it feels obvious. That's why it works. Because the most effective manipulation doesn't look like manipulation. It looks like uncertainty. Let's move to the third sign, the one that slowly drains your energy without you noticing. Sign number 3, your effort increases, her appreciation shrinks. This is the moving finish line. At the beginning, small effort from you gets big reactions from her. She smiles more. She responds faster. She seems grateful. So you do more. You adjust your schedule. You listen longer. You become more available. And that's when something strange happens. The more you invest, the less she acknowledges it. Your effort becomes expected. Your presence becomes convenient. Your availability becomes assumed. Instead of appreciation, you start getting hesitation. I'm not ready. I'm confused. It's just bad timing. But notice something important. She's never confused about enjoying your attention. She's only confused about committing to you. I've heard men say, if I just show her how serious I am, she'll see my value. But attraction doesn't grow through proof, it grows through choice. And here's the painful insight most men resist. If she wanted you, your presence would already be enough. If she doesn't, no amount of effort will ever fix it. In fact, effort without boundaries teaches her something dangerous, that she can keep raising the bar, and you'll keep chasing it. And the moment you stop chasing, that's when she suddenly notices you again. Which brings us directly to the fourth sign, because this one explains why that happens. Sign number 4. Her inconsistency is not confusion. It's hot and cold as emotional control. This is intermittent reinforcement, and it's powerful. She's warm for 2 days, then she disappears for 3. One night, she's affectionate, open, almost intimate. The next morning, she's distant, dry, distracted. And your brain starts spiraling. What changed? Did I do something wrong? How do I get back to that version of her? Here's what's really happening. Uncertainty creates addiction. When affection becomes unpredictable, your mind fixates on winning it back. You don't fall for her, you fall for the pattern. She warms up when you pull away. She cools down when you move closer. Not because of chemistry, because of conditioning. And this is where men lose clarity. They mistake emotional instability for connection. But consistency is what real interest looks like. Let me say that again. Consistency is attraction. Inconsistency is leverage. And the moment you realize this, her behavior stops being confusing. It becomes predictable. She's warm when she risks losing access to you. She's cold when she knows you're still there. Pause here. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop texting, stop initiating, stop chasing, she suddenly reappears? That's not coincidence. That's control through scarcity. Now let's zoom out. Look at the pattern forming across these signs. You invest more, she gives less. You move closer, she pulls away. You detach slightly, she leans back in. And that cycle keeps you stuck. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. In part 3, we're going to expose the final sign, the one that confirms everything. And then we'll break the illusion completely. Because the hardest truth isn't about her behavior. It's about why you stayed. Before we move on, do this. If you've ever mistaken hot and cold behavior for chemistry, comment below. And if this video is making you uncomfortable in a way that feels honest, like it. Because part 3 is where you stop hoping and start choosing yourself. If you've stayed with me this far, one thing should be clear now. What you experienced wasn't random. It wasn't bad luck. And it wasn't because you didn't try hard enough. There was a pattern. And the final sign is the one that confirms everything you've already felt. Sign number 5. She's never available for you, only for what she needs. This is selective availability. She doesn't disappear completely. She just disappears when you need her. She's busy when you want to see her. Busy when you want clarity. Busy when you want consistency. But the moment she's bored, lonely, stressed, or emotional, she finds time. She calls. She texts. She reappears. You become emotional convenience. Someone she can access without committing to. Look closely at the pattern. Messages left unseen until she wants something. Plans canceled with you, but never with things she enjoys. Slow replies, except when she needs comfort, validation, or attention. And here's the line that cuts through all the excuses. Her availability reflects her interest. Her effort reflects her respect. People make time for what matters. If you're always waiting while she's always busy, you already have your answer. Now take a breath, because here's the final realization that changes everything. You're not addicted to her. You're addicted to the version of yourself that hoped she would choose you. The late nights thinking about her, the effort you invested, the future you imagined. That wasn't about her being special. That was about potential you created in your mind. And walking away doesn't mean losing her. It means losing the version of yourself that tolerated the bare minimum and called it connection. That's the hardest part. Because letting go of hope feels like giving up. But it's not. It's choosing reality over fantasy. Let's recap the 5 signs clearly. She flirts without depth. She keeps other men as leverage. Your effort increases while her appreciation shrinks. She uses hot and cold to control the dynamic. She's available only when it benefits her. If you see these patterns, the answer isn't to analyze harder. It's to disengage cleaner. Here's what that actually looks like. Stop interpreting moments. Start observing patterns. Stop feeding the dynamic emotionally. Pull your attention back. No long explanations, no dramatic exits, no speeches about how you feel. Silence. Distance. Self-focus. That's the boundary. Because the men who stop getting played aren't colder, they're clearer. They don't walk away from women, they walk away from situations that require them to abandon themselves. And once you do that, something changes. Not in her, in you. If this hit you, like the video. If you don't want to fall into this trap again, subscribe. And in the comments, be honest with yourself. Which sign did you ignore the longest? Because clarity always comes before power. And now you have both.